everybody, one of Wisdom here. It is April 13th, 2016. It is 12:38 a.m. Central Standard Time. I just made a tweet. It's about to go down tonight. We're going to defeat Chaos. So, long story short, I don't really drag this out, but compared to people that just play through the game, I make like, I don't know, 3 to 4 times that number of videos. Some people do like the whole clusters, like instead of chapter 1, it might be like the section that's chapter 1 through 6. You could kind of get through Skylanders in probably, like 8 to 10 parts. I go chapter by chapter. It helps people find what they need easier. But then we do introductions for the characters. We do full upgrades for each path for the characters. We introduce the vehicles. We do the quests. So whereas somebody might buzz through the game in a week, I kind of, try to spread it out over the course of the year. I've wanted to defeat Chaos now for a really, really, really long time, and I've held out primarily. My hope was that not necessarily Thrillipede, but the Buzzwing would be released. And it hasn't been. Generally, they do the last one sometime between mid to late April and June, depending on the game. But I'm gonna go ahead and progress. I just checked prices. Some stuff like the Sky Race Action Pack is $8 on Amazon. You can apparently get the individual Sunrunner, I guess standalone, which I've never seen in stores, for $4.79. I've never actually acquired a couple of vehicles, and particularly the Soda Skimmer, because I've never seen it. I think one time, but it wasn't on sale. But anyway, we're going to go ahead, and the reason I'm doing this, the last time that we did anything in-game, which I released that video this afternoon, chapter 46, that was uploaded March 24th, and that would mean that I probably recorded it, a couple nights prior. And it'll just be a quick refresh, then we're moving on, and we'll take it from there. But I've got a couple of quests left, a few supercharged challenges, maybe the racing stuff. I don't know. I'm debating streaming that. If you'd like to see it streamed and then just send over to YouTube, let me know. If you'd prefer sort of like the blind playthrough traditional format, I can make that happen as well. But let's can it and let's get going here. Alright, and like I said, we should technically be like Portal Master rank 3500 by now, but it stops at 75, so... we do at least now have access to Bone Bash Roller Brawl, so that's good. She was very difficult for me to locate. There's a couple characters I don't have, same with the vehicles, but hey...
Thanks to Mags, the work on the Dark Rift engine is complete. It's time to send the darkness back to whatever desolated hole it crawled out of. Unfortunately, the darkness is still protected by the enchanted armor of that Sky Eater, so the only way to be sure we get the job done is to go inside the belly of the beast. Glumshanks is gonna get us into the control room of the Sky Eater. The rest will be up to you. This is our last hope, soldier. Now go out there and make an old ninja proud.
Alright, so that ding, if you heard it, that was Tim responding to the tweet. So he said, go get him, and that we shall do, my friend. So,
SuperChargers.
Something else, though, another reason I held out. I have seen one time the standalone Spitfire. I've never seen it since. It wasn't on sale when I saw it. The sales have been crazy this game, which is, great news for everybody. But long story short, I felt like, well, hey, I'm gonna wait. We'll see if we can get Hot Streak and Spitfire. They're kind of important, the starter pack, duo, if you will. Don't have them. I've got multiple darks, but I don't have standard. It's weird how that works out. Some of these characters we upgraded eons ago, no pun intended. Some of them we upgraded, fairly recently, but we're just gonna go have a good time, get this taken care of. So, lovely hat, Flynn.
Okay, Chief, you just let us know when it's time to take down that big old Sky Eater.
The time is now. Also, another reason I'm doing this, I'm kind of wanting to move on, get some other projects going. Mind Logic's, my last episode basically comes out tomorrow, and the last episode with content anyway, and that's because we had a worthless griefer get on the server and destroy everything. And so I've got kind of that ahead of me, like either complete rebuild and retool or reset the server, which is what everyone on the server is leaning towards. It'll be 1.9 this time, but in addition to that, I'm probably going to start a standalone PC-based deal. I haven't really killed the solo survival Xbox One, it's just I can do so much more on PC. But the Skylander stuff, the plan, just so you know ahead of time, finish out what I can of the supercharged challenges and quests, acquire the vehicles as they become available dirt cheap price-wise. Maybe go for the full set. I don't know. It doesn't really mean a lot to me. But we'll find out. We'll do something. I'll do the rest of the elite upgrades. That's a big deal to me personally. I'll release all my attack damage spreadsheets, which I've been hoarding away from you. And then what else? If we get into the racing, I'm not really big on online stuff, but if we start completing the racing stuff, and there's enough people interested, maybe, you know, Tim, Daphne, P. Diddy, he's on PlayStation, so that can't happen. Same with Rob, which he's like a daytime guy. I'm a nocturnal one. But anyway, like fans, you know, or Tim or other Skylander fanatics might do like some group races from time to time. Again, you know, feel free to throw your thoughts out here. And main thing, just have fun with it and see what they have in store for us for the next Skylander installment. So, alright, but all this will be brand new stuff. That's what we care about. So.
I, Kaos, future ruler of the entire universe, shall bring about the total and complete destruction of Skylands right now. Nope, not yet.
Chaos. Haven't we consumed more than enough sky to open the cataclysmic mega rift?
Well, yes, but...
Then what are you waiting for? Press that button and destroy Skylands forever.
Well, I was just thinking, now go with me on this. What if, instead of destroying Skylands now, we savor the moment? We address all of Skylands and tell everyone they're doomed. Their way of life is over thanks to us. Then we rule over them for, 100 years. 200 tops. Then we press the button. Ha!
I've waited long enough. Sorry about that, Chaos. You know, I was hoping it wouldn't come to this.
What are you doing?
Perhaps you've forgotten how much the darkness has given you, and how easily it can be taken away.
Ah! My thing! What did you do to my powers?
You can rule the universe in my name, or you can spend the rest of eternity just being you. So, what's it going to be, Chaos?
Fine!
Reactor core engaged. Mega rift sequence initiated. Utter and complete destruction of Skylands commencing.
There! Happy? Now give me back my thing!
See? That wasn't so hard. Cheer up, Chaos. You've got a front row seat to the end of Skylands and the beginning of the glorious reign of the darkness.
Well, looks like that sky thingy's got some kind of force field. So unless any of you have an idea for how we can take it out, this is as close as we're gonna get. But at least we tried, right? We tried.
We can't turn back now. There has to be a way.
Well, I have an idea, actually. You see that over there? It's a radiance geode. If the Skylander could, crack it open and then detonate the crystals.
The shockwave would disable that shield and let us through. Great plan, Glumshanks. You'll need a sky vehicle to go after the geode, Skylander.
Alright, so... Okay, that's what we want to see, the Sky Eaters, Chapter 47. I gotta say, the Darkness, very, very strong resemblance to none other than Spitfire, wouldn't you say? I also see some elements of like Tree Rex, perhaps a little Double Trouble-esque magic going on there. But cool nonetheless. What is this throne doing on Sharpfin's ship? I thought, okay, I was trying to figure out what that is. That said, I guess we'll check with them since it's kind of like the last hurrah.
All right, plan B. We'll ram the ship right through that force field, but you're the one that's gonna explain the damage to Sharpfin.
Okay. No. We do not want to skip it. I thought if they're gonna lock me into
We need a
that,
sky vehicle to go after the Geode, Skylander.
should we even talk to them?
You should probably hurry. We're running out of time.
Alright, well, thanks for savoring the moment. Anyway, what are we supposed to do? Just break? I wonder if we have to break
destroy
all
the
of them.
crystals on the outside of the Geode to crack it open.
So, are we hitting them at all? Destroy the crystals on the outside? What do they mean by that? Like... Okay, so that's a crystal on the outside of the Radiance Geode. They looked similar to me. So, anyway, well, if this is all linear based, that would be fairly easy, right? This is almost like a Super Mario Galaxy vibe. Almost. But anyway, so I guess there's a couple more of these or something. Who knows, maybe we could have broke that first one in the same manner. As interesting, there's like no enemies here though, right? It's just kind of us and geodes and crystals. There we go. That's actually very cool, I have to say.
Core is exposed. Destroy the rest of those crystal shards to detonate the Geode.
You've got enemies.
Okay, so the bottom line here is don't shoot like straight onto one. You have to come at the side, which I don't know. Maybe there's like some scientific principle applicable there. I swear there was an arrow underneath this. Oh, hey, what's up? Barrel roll. That's interesting timing with Star Fox, isn't it?
There's your way inside, Skylander.
Looked a lot like a mushroom.
How does this? I just talk right into there? Oh.
Interesting. I saw an article that,
Skylander? You're gonna need to head through the intake and erosion tunnels, so be careful.
Karthik and Buha had actually left Vicarious Visions, which
Vehicles of the light element are stronger.
I didn't hear what he said. But I actually didn't hear what Glumshin said either, so we're just kind of winging this. But I read that they've left Vicarious Visions, which they're the dudes that started it. So that's kind of sad, really. They were got to speak with them personally. They were very down to it. That was cool. But very nice guys. Whatever they proceed on to do, I wish them well. So they were kind of behind Swap Force, and then of course here SuperChargers. So if you're fans of those games or the structures, you know that's sort of Vicarious Visions for you. Is the red good or is the red bad? It's usually bad. I don't know that it did anything to us. Okay, so that gonna close. Excellent. Staggered.
Those turrets are really dangerous. You should probably clear those out first.
Clear the landing bay. What is latched onto us? A lot of times in this, I don't quite follow what they're saying. A lot of it is the headset, you know, issues and everything. Okay, so like here, well, you know, the cursor's on. Okay, so you can shoot these. I was thinking we'd have to come in from the side or something. Okay, at least now I can kind of see multiple things we're supposed to destroy. That gives us an advantage. Let's see. These guys, that's it. Very annoying. But I feel like a lot of this game is kind of like sort of lacked the direction I would have liked to have seen. You know, I don't know. You have to realize also a lot of like your so-called hardcore Skylander people seem to spend more time playing Disney Infinity, and I don't know. That's not me. I've been here since day one, and there's an awful lot to see implemented to help the game out. And I don't know. And the thing is, my videos back before crazy third-party stuff went down on YouTube, like my SSA videos were probably the most watched. I'm not like really bragging, I get nothing from them, but that's just facts. They were up first and everything. But I get comments from people that's like, hey, man, you're still here making videos. I remember watching your Skylander Spyro's Adventure videos back 5 years ago, etc. And it's hard to believe, but a lot of the like quote-unquote kids that grew up with Skylanders have like progressed on. I mean, they're Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto, sports, what have you. I don't know where we are. Nice and slow, Jet-Vac. Nice and slow.
I'm right on target!
Pretty awesome work clearing a path for us, Skylander pal.
I can't believe you knocked Glumshanks off the deck.
Hey, I said to hang on to something. Anywho, I'm sure he's fine. But you might want to track him down anyway, Skylander. Just in case. Because you'll definitely need him to get you through this place.
Okay. Skystar complete, excellent. I think there was one of each. There we go. Chapter 48, Grinding Gears. So, very cool. We've completed, kind of roughly, completed 47. I wasn't quite clear on what to do. We got it figured out, though. But what I was saying is, like, a lot of the quote-unquote kids that grew up with, you have to realize, man, it's been 5 years now. And so if you were 7 years old, and Skylanders was like the bee's knees, a lot of those kids now, they're not going to touch this. The cool ones will, the loyal ones will, but for many people, peer pressure comes in, or just a change in interests, and, it's like, oh, Madden, baby, or NBA 2K, and Grand Theft Auto, Call of Duty, maybe they moved on to Minecraft or PC, who knows what they're doing. But now, if someone just coming in, a younger audience just coming into SuperChargers, it's totally different. I mean, it's the same generation, if you will, but I mean, 5 years, I mean, let's face it, first grade, sixth grade, there's a big gap there, right? And so, I've got people coming back, like, talking about how nostalgic it is to watch my SSA videos. And so I feel there's been like a shift in the audience, and it's not because of the game, it's just the course of history, right? If somebody was a huge Mario fan in Super Mario World, by the time, Super Mario 64 comes out, they may not have a Nintendo. They might be all about baseball and, traveling around in the summer playing sports, or who knows what happens, Maybe you're like a 12-year-old super into that. Super Mario Sunshine comes out, the GameCube's there. You miss out on it, not because you just miss, but because you're into golf or sports, or you're cruising around in your car type of a deal. Things change. And of course, at my point in life, I'm still here. I'm going to be here as long as I'm having fun. And I think now would be a great time for Toys for Bob, kind of come in and evaluate like the audience and who's still here. Are we selling well comparatively to Infinity and Lego Dimensions and all the other copycats and rip-offs of Skylanders? What can we do to improve upon it? And oh yeah, what about those people that have been playing the game since SSA, have been loyal to us, collect all the figures, buy, go for the chase variants, go for 100%. And that is where I feel like my input would be reflective of that side of the community. And I gotta say, man, I don't care what anyone else says, PvP. Skylander battles, right? SSA had it, Giants had it, Swap Force was the last game that had it. It needs to be back, and it needs to be back in the next Skylanders game. If they can't put it in there, if they want to do, you know, we can't make the cars a one-trick pony. We have to have racing. We don't have space to fit it. That's fine. Do what I've said for years since Trap Team. Make a standalone game that's just Skylander battles and expand upon it, make it cheap, offer free DLC. It'll encourage people to buy. But what that did, what we had in SSA Giants and Swap Force, when people hit this point like, okay, all the characters are out, all the vehicles, all the whatevers are available, I've collected them, I've got my chase figures, I've replayed, I've done the quests, I've done heroic challenges, blah blah blah. Your replayability, you know, which granted, yeah, go back and replay SSA now, which is still my favorite game in the franchise, but the replayability for the vast majority of people is going to come just like Mario Kart. Why do people play it and brawl all the time? Because it's ever evolving. There's no two races the same, no two matches the same. Me and my nephew could sit here and do Mario versus Luigi every time, and it's not going to be the same outcome. You know, I win 3 in a row, he wins 4 in a row. You know, I slaughter him with my coin uppercut, he comes back and just, you know, does that Luigi slap to me and kills me. It's just a total, like, freedom ride, basically. You control it, it's fun, you know, and now with the online that they've sort of dabbled into and kind of perfected, if you will, mastered, figured out to the point of implementing it, that opens up so many possibilities, and that would keep the series fresh through the summer. If you get to a lull and you're like, man, you know, that we're getting killed by the competition, throw out a new arena, make it free, you know, throw out 2 new arenas, one's free, one is a purchase. Everybody's going to buy it, you know, and if they don't, they're going to be playing on the free one. PvP battle mode, that is something that, in my opinion, needs to come back. I've heard people whine that, oh, you know, Drobot's going to kill everybody and, you know, nerf it. There's that same problem in all the online communities. You know, people hack. I mean, that's why they destroyed our server. There's that one little worthless piece of trash that comes on and in, you know, 37 minutes destroys what I spent who knows how many hours building, you know. Burns up all my diamond enchanted tools that I had not even used, you know. And that's just part of the game, man. It's the same way with you know, your sports titles, your Call of Duty, everything. But the PvP needs to be back, and I prefer an emphasis on the story mode. I'm not as concerned with the gimmicks. I think with Trap Team, people started to see, and I've still got the people that I relate to and that I hear feedback from all the time. You know what they're telling me? Where's my freaking yawn trap? Can you do something and get me a yawn trap? It's never been released here, okay? This is the hardcore people that are still buying SuperChargers, right? I go out day one of SuperChargers in good faith and I buy, what, 6-7 starter packs? You know? Full price, nothing was on sale then, you know, the whole 50% buy 2, get 1 free, etc. You know, I wanted to ensure that I had Dark Bowser and Dark Donkey Kong, etc. And so, you know, that's kind of, at some point in time, you have to say, hey, wait a second. You know, we still want to tailor this quote-unquote to kids, but let's maybe do more for our hardcore fanatics, our loyalists, the people that have been here all 5 years and are going to continue to support the franchise. And the PvP is where that would go. The other thing that is critical, and this isn't necessarily for the hardcore collectors, this is just for regular parents, working people, your average player. If I come in and I buy all those traps, and I talked about this in Trap Team, I had a very bad feeling about it. What are you doing with your traps right now, okay? You know, are you looking at them every day? Are they super cool? No. You know, if I had a Wolfgang or a Pinata figure, it would be prominently displayed on the pool table as I play. But the traps, no, they're just like an inconvenience, and they were basically just a few bucks short of a figure, you know, when you get right down to it. But that gimmick, yeah, give me a speed boost. You know how many times I've done that here in SuperChargers? Once, and it was to show you what it did. Okay? I'm not going to sit here and like swap that in and out of my portal for a speed boost. it's the same way, you know, now with the Superchargers. I have this sinking feeling in my heart. What will the vehicles do, if anything? You know, will they just unlock special content? Will they give us, you know, some gold one time, many times? Will they be like a little assist trophy in the game? Or will they just not do anything? And those decisions greatly impact like your core community, especially when they haven't endured the traps. You know, like Giants. Kind of a one-trick pony, but hey, they can still pull a chain. You know, you can still play with them if you want to. Swappers. Yeah, go ahead and complete all 256 combinations, you super fan, you. But you can still play as them, right? It's the traps and the vehicles. Now, the vehicles, to be fair, we don't know. You know, they could very well come back in, and in the next installment, we could have super fantastic kart racing. The whole next series could be kart. Who knows what they'll do? But if they go like super awesome story mode, which would be, I mean, a freaking, you know, 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, 98 of 100, whatever rating it might be, there's then going to be that like asterisk that's like, oh yeah, your vehicles from Superchargers don't work. And the innovation, the more they push themselves, the more difficult I believe it becomes to actually continue on at that same pace, because you run into situations and ordeals in that, you know, sort of mindset that's going to always be there haunting you. And so what you did in hopes of being innovative and, you know, bringing interest and doing something new, pushing the envelope, would you in the end have been better off sticking to the tried and true formula, just making a super awesome fun platformer, you know, that's kind of fun for the family, kid friendly, has the difficulty cranks ups, you know, for you know, sort of like your hardcore older players or challenging, you know, younger audiences, etc. And I don't know, I've seen a lot of people go away from Skylanders. Like I said, you don't see me playing Infinity, you don't see me playing Lego Dimensions. Lego Dimensions would just be too expensive, I'm not gonna lie. I have zero interest in Infinity, I'll never play it. Don't really want to say never, but it's not gonna happen. And this is a franchise that I was there day one, man, and I love it, and I continue to play it. But the fact of the matter, SSA remains my favorite game. I don't hear many people say that. You know, maybe I hear a couple of Giants, but it's usually Swap Force, Trap Team, or Superchargers. For me, SSA, and it's not been close. That was a fantastic game. Didn't have gimmicks. Wasn't the most clean cut. You had to use bounce pads. Didn't bother me. You know, I played the snot out of it. I don't want to go on like too terribly much with this because, you know, it's gonna get late, and I think those of you watching this will care. You know, average people not so much. They'll be like, shut up and play the chapter, dude. But I needed to say this stuff sometime, and I think this is the place. But again, what I want to see is PvP come back, and I think that is very critical to the success of this franchise. It's kind of like when I kind of hit on Nintendo. I don't do it because I'm like the super awesome Sony, you know, PlayStation fanboy #1, or, you know, Lord Xbox that's got, you know, direct ties to Microsoft. I bash on Nintendo because I like it and I want it to succeed. And when they have like really dumb policies, I feel like it's my job to actually come out and say, this is idiotic. You know, fix this mess, you nuts. You know, I don't want to see you tank. I want to see you do well and continue to be the company, you know, that I grew up playing the games of and loved. And I don't know, you know, like I said, when I see like that younger audience coming back and telling me that, you know, oh man, you know, I just watched this video again, it's so nostalgic. It's like, wow, you know, that's like an 8-year-old that's now like 12 or 13, and it's like, oh, I remember watching these videos, man, you know, glad you're still here. But it's like, that's nice, but on the flip side, I have to take that in stride and be like, good grief, man, you know, like that quote-unquote kid that was like the target audience for SSA, they're not playing the game anymore. You know, they've like moved on. Some of them, of course, are, but a lot of them, it's like, man, I can't let my friends know I do that. Or, oh, Call of Duty, man, I'd play Skylanders, but it would take away from my Call of Duty time. You know, and like I covered, you know, everyone's going to have their different paths in life. And, you know, some of them might go and, you know, hit high school and Skylanders 9 comes out and they're like, oh, dude, I got to pick that up, you know, and them and their buddies get together and reminisce about, oh, man, yeah, 2011, whew, SSA, what a great game, you know, type of a thing. But where are they in the meantime? And what I'm getting at is, like, you and me are still gonna be here, you know, troughing through this. And I don't know, I just want to see this game continue to do well. And like I said, it's not only, you know, the audience growing up, but a lot of the people, which I think many of them did start doing Skylanders for views. I'm not gonna lie about that. You can probably figure out who they are and what their motives are based on how they play the game. A lot of that is, you know, self-explanatory, but they're not getting the views from Skylanders. They won't do it. They'll crank out some other content that gets them views or money or whatever. I'm here as a labor of love. You know what I make off this video? Nothing. And you know what I'll make off Chapter 48? Nothing. And you know why I'm playing it? Because I want to, and that's why I'll continue to do it. But like I said, I've needed to make a lot of channel updates and kind of hit on some of these conversational topics, but I don't know. Like I said, for me, it's kind of bittersweet completing this, and, you know, maybe doing the racing. I don't really have anyone that's like, oh, dude, you gotta do these online races with us, which tells me they're either not playing it, they don't have vehicles, or, you know, they tried it and they didn't like it, and they're doing something else with their time. And like I said, you know, I'll play what I have fun with, and that's why I'm here. That's why I do Skylanders research that no one else bothers to do. And I do it because I want to, man. If I didn't have YouTube, I'd be documenting. I've covered it before. Did it with the Madden games and the draft classes. That's what I, you know, played. That's what I wanted to research, figure out, understand better. Same thing here. But anyway, I've given you enough food for thought, enough content. We've drugged this thing out like an extra 20 minutes, basically, between the start and the finish. But I'm going to end this. This will be all I'll say. We're going to just progress through. But I wanted to cover that sometime in the game, and I felt like this was a good time. So, like I said, everything I say is a true fan, one of the biggest fans, you know, from the beginning to this point in time. So, hopefully, like I said, you know, maybe what we say and what we think and what we kind of would like to see is kind of taken into consideration. And they've done that, you know, to a degree. I think that's why we have the elites and some other things, but it's one of those deals. You know, at some point in time, you have to say, hey, you know, let's just go old school, give this to our loyal fans, deliver up a freaking awesome game, and see what happens, you know? And I will be sitting ready and waiting for that. To our loyal fans, deliver up a freaking awesome game and see what happens, you know? And I will be sitting ready and waiting for that. But anyway, I will quit rambling. If you enjoy this sort of stuff, check out my other videos or the Skylander Club forum, SkylanderClub.com. You follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook, circle me on Plus, whichever you prefer. Let me know your thoughts on this stuff, and of course, most importantly, perhaps, if you would like to see the Skylanders racing stuff. If so, live stream versus what is going on with my computer. Something bad. I'm gonna end this, but let me know.